Sitaram, once more welcome to SWA DHARMA, carried exclusively on Samkhya TV on Thursdays between 6:30 p.m. and 7 p.m. SWA DHARMA, where we sit in satsang, where we come together to listen to the words of the divine, the exploits of the divine, where there is narrator and audience, where the narrator himself becomes part of the audience, and we use approved reference texts to guide the conversations. So we are continuing today's program dealing with now Raatri period, and so a quick revision of what was done last week, establishing via references that the Raatri entails the worship of 6 projections of that divine supreme female deity, Mahalakshmi if you prefer. Some may refer to her as Mother Sita, and those 6 projections being Lakshmi Mata, Durga Mata, Saraswati Mata, Savitri Mata, Radha Mata, and Shashti Mata, the last 3 which we will deal with in today's program. Just a quick reminder, the mantra to be performed either in Havan or preferably Havan or in Jap will be Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaya Vichaya Swaha or Namah as the case may be. That explanation, we also gave a synopsis of it on our last occasion. Suffice it to say, these nasal syllables incorporate Aim in the case of Lakshmi and Radha, Hrim in the case of Durga Mata and her daughter Savitri Devi, and Klim in the case of Saraswati Mata and Savitri Mata. And those forces came together, among other things, to destroy those army generals of the Rakshasas known as Chand and Mund. And so too, when we translate those negative forces in our lives, taking these 6 names of Devi reverently, it helps to ward off the threat of such challenges. So we move into Savitri Devi in our session this week, and we rely on the quote. Who is Savitri Devi? Savitri Brahmana Brahmalokam Jagamsa. That Savitri Mata is the spouse of Brahmaji, the creator. She is known as Saraswati most times, but she also has the projection of Savitri, Brahmalokam Jagamsa. That where does she reside? Like Brahma in Brahmalok, where Brahma resides. She is the consort of Brahma, we look further into seeing what is her forte, what are her portfolios, as the case may be. And we again refer to Devi Bhagavad, describing the glories of Savitri Devi. To reiterate, she's a projection of the very Saraswati that we are familiar with. Sarva Swarupe Viprana Mantrasare Paratpari. That her forte, her blessings, when we generate the blessings from Savitri Mata, she gives us, or she drives the essence of the mantras. She gives the force of the mantras when they are recited with devotion and according to guidance. When we say guidance, of course, one's diet has to be tailored, one's mannerisms have to be tempered, and that is the platform on which mantra becomes effective. But to really get the full potential of the mantra, we have to bring to the fore the name of Saraswati Mata in her projection as Savitri. So that is where she comes in. Looking at the connect with the nasal syllable Klim in the very Navratri mantra which we highlighted earlier. Klim literally means, well, the K will represent ambition, the realization of ambition, which actually comes from the form Saraswati herself. We will move into that in our next slide. We focus a bit here now on the L in the Klim, and that L represents Indradev, and we will develop where Savitri Mata, the connect is there between Savitri Mata and the power of mantras, the power she exercises over mantras. Running through the syllable, E will represent contentment, tosh, and all these are really cues rooted in the Sanskrit, and we are just making a little synopsis, a little shortcut to getting to the end of the meaning. The M in the Klim represents harsha, joy, and the Anuswar, when we write Klim in Sanskrit, there's this dot, which really means or really indicates it's a removal of misery. So mantras on the whole, the syllables are representative of an entire history, and they are shortened to have the potency, not to circumvent and cut any corners short. They do have the potency, but to, as you say, extract the full potency of all mantras. There are 2 Devis that come to the fore, and we are focusing here now on Savitri Devi. Sometimes in the course of satsang, we'll develop on the other input of the female aspect of Devi, but we are focusing on Savitri Devi. Now, Indradev, as far as the structure of Godhead is concerned, and be reminded, we don't want to overdo the point, but sometimes there might be a new listener, sometimes one might have missed something. It's one God, infinite, manifest in finite forms for our better understanding and for our easier relations towards the divine. So the deity who we really deal with is Lord Indra. When I say deal with, or when we say deal with, we mean who is the first call as far as divinity is concerned for our literal existence. Because Lord Indra is the Lord of celestials, the Lord of the elements, water, rain, via rain, fire, the wind, all that. Lord Indra, these deities, these manifestations of the infinite, answer initially to Lord Indra. And Lord Indra, the Lord of celestials, he secures his position. The word Indra is really not merely a name of someone, but more so a title, like we have Prime Minister. And to retain that position of Indra, nearing the point of election, the Indras usually get into certain havans, using certain incantations, certain mantras, structured mantras. And so those mantras relate to certain shaping of the character, shaping of their manner of stewardship, which will gain the popularity and by extension gain them ascension to that position of Indra. So all the Indras make use of Savitri Devi as they make their input, their oblations by the guidance of their guru, as they perform this havan and the translation and the meanings and how the havan and mantras should impact on their lives. So Savitri Devi, Indra Dev is indebted to Savitri Devi. And so it is said that if one really wants to tap into the celestials, if one wants to make endeavors of kinds of noble endeavors by the use of mantras and to expedite such results, one not only uses a mantra like Indra Devi does, one also uses by devotion or devotional offerings, oblations to Savitri Devi. So the name there is interchangeable, the powers are interchangeable. Indra Dev had no hesitation in giving obeisance and paying reverence to Savitri Devi and told the world that he retained his position through those incantations, so too we can have our goals realized, our noble goals realized by the making use of Savitri Devi. We move now to a bit of Saraswati Mata, that Saraswati who, as Savitri, she presents herself most times, as we know and we are familiar with, as Saraswati Mata. She is the goddess of learning, knowledge, music, the fine arts, as we established in last week's program, just to make the point of the connect of the mantra of the silver Klim in Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundai, which I hear Swaha. That, the K in the Klim actually represents the Saraswati Mata input. So the La represents the Savitri Mata input, the Ka represents Saraswati Mata's input, where she helps us to realize our ambitions. Ambitions through academia, skill sets and so forth, where not only knowledge should be acquired and the know-how, but teaching is about matter and method. It's not only matter. And our approach to learning, how we make the types of efforts, not even called and defined, but extra efforts to have or to master academia and skill sets, that comes with the worship of Saraswati Mata. And there are special names according to it. It is good to know these names. Sometimes where we might be living, it's important. So for instance, if one lives on the eastern part of the country, whichever country, the name of Saraswati Mata that is most effective there is Sarvakanta Vasinyai. That is part of the entire mantra, which really means that you're appealing to Saraswati Mata in with the quality of she who sits on the voice box, and she who will help to put structure and meaning to our words. And that is where, if we use that name of Saraswati Mata, it sort of fine-tunes our worship with the goal of realizing our ambition. So it is good to familiarize oneself with the various names of Saraswati Mata, those revered names according to where we live. And of course, we have always mentioned the Vidyalaya is always open to discussion and dialogue to educate and to bring one up to par if there is a need to so do. Reverting to or elaborating more on Savitri Mata, there are certain mantras that quickly come to mind, and some of these have been done in workshops past. Quickly reminder for health purposes, the mantra Om Shatama, Balivyasu, etc. Everyone, health is a primary concern of everyone, old, young, whatever. And it is this mantra which within it encompasses meanings that gives us the correct attitude, the correct approach to handling disease. And to get the full potential of it, no need to mention, but just to remind, use the name before getting into these mantras of Savitri Devi. Make a little offering of flower, offer a little incense, agarbatti, not only on these times, but on a daily basis. And so it potentiates that recitation of that mantra. The knowledge and light that ought to come from that mantra is expanded by the blessings of Savitri Devi. Likewise, protection is of primary concern to us, our safety. And we have done this Mam Bhirakshay Raghupulanayak. The meaning was given, and there we can, as I say, we can lend voltage to the mantra by including the name of Savitri Mata, and so worshipping her on a daily basis. And for our sustenance, it's a good one. So there will always be a morsel of food on the table. Vishwa Bharan Poshan Karajoi Takra Nam Bharat Asohi, that's an extract from Ramayana, where the name of Bharat, who was the projection of Vishnu, the sustained in Ramayana, it is said that if we take this line and with a degree of understanding, with an element of devotion as we recite and perform our worship, then we'll never be out of even a morsel of food for sustenance. So we turn our attention now to the fifth projection of Devi, whose worship should be done during the Raatri period, and that is Radha Mata, the spouse or the consort of Bhagwan Krishna. Be reminded that we know of Satyabhama, etc., as the Rukmini and so forth as the spouses of Bhagwan Krishna. Let not the mind run away. Remember, these were all projections of that one divinity. So it is not that Bhagwan Krishna, like Dasrat, had many wives. That is too literal. That is entwining ourselves in dogma and not realizing that these books were written in parables. That to that one divine female supreme form who was the consort of Bhagwan Shiva projected herself in manifold forms, Radha, Rukmini, Satyabhama, etc. So to see the various faceted divine form of Devi, that is who was betrothed to Bhagwan Krishna. So we look at that facet of that divine form, his consort, as Radha. And the mantra says, or the extract says, Om Vishnu Kshiro Daya Dashaicha Prap Sindhu Sutam Tata. That this Radha Mata was worshipped by Vishnu Bhagwan, the sustainer. And in so doing, Shiro Dashaicha, that is the specify which one, the one who's Kshirosagar, not Mahavishnu, but the sustaining Vishnu. Prap, and because of his devotion to Radha Mata, he received Sindhu Sutam Tata. Sindhu Sutam literally means the ocean, the daughter of the ocean. As we all know, at the great churning of the ocean, Mother Lakshmi arose from that. And so the writer tells us that when Lord Vishnu worshipped Radha Mata, as a result of her blessings, he was united with Lakshmi Mata. And that union gave to the world much that we can benefit in a very, very close sense, in a very real sense. And we will set about spending a minute showing how real and beneficial this union can be, all coming out of Radha Mata. And in the syllable aim, which is designated to Lakshmi Mata, from this quotation, we ought to see that yes, Lakshmi's full potential was realized through Radha Mata. So we can see, as the initial quotation had said, where she becomes the fifth projection, the fifth projection of the divine form. So looking at Bhagwan Vishnu in the first instance, we shall see how that union brings benefit to us in a real sense. Vishnu Bhagwan, being the sustainer, takes care of, in him we take refuge being food, shelter and clothing. We have shared information where whatever we are going to have, when we are going to have our sattvic food, that becomes prasad by the bringing to mind of Bhagwan Vishnu by maybe an extended mantra. Likewise, clothing, not only food, clothing too. Every piece of garment that we have, and if it's not been implemented, we should make efforts to so do. We are not too sure whose hands went through the manufacture of it, and so we don't just randomly put those clothes on for the first time. No, we don't know what charges, negative or otherwise, may come with that garment. So its best bet is to choose, and astrologically that can be done, which we will show shortly. We choose the time when you put on that clothes for the first time, that garment for the first time. And in so doing, the best way to do it is to go to Bhagwan Vishnu, pluck a flower. We have on the garment, we pluck a flower, or there is a flower there prepared for us. We go on with that garment. Our first act with this new clothing is that we went to the sustainer, the very provider of such clothing. Now, in SV's monthly calendar, one can easily go to it, look under the section on the monthly calendar of new clothes. You'll see times given. Now, for instance, on Thursday, 18th April, between this time, we may not be going, that be out of our work time and regular work time. So what do? Do we wait for a time when we are going to work? No. All we have to do on that time, shower, make sure the diet and so forth is in vrat mode, and we take on that garment, grab it from the closet and put it on, get our flower, yellow flower preferably, and go to Bhagwan Vishnu, short mantra, Ashtakshara mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya, we offer it on the bow, and that's stamp. For the first act of wearing a new garment was an act where we went to give gratitude and pay obeisance to the provider of that garment. And so at any point in time or we can wear that, it has already been done on the appropriate time. So very much close to us, there are maneuvers that we can make that will show that the benefits of Bhagwan Vishnu and Mother Lakshmi's union come to our help. And doing these things, the clothing becomes a guard. There are mishaps are averted because this becomes a guard. Looking at Mother Lakshmi's input in that bond, Mother Lakshmi, as we know, is not merely the goddess of wealth, she's the goddess of prosperity. Hopefully we've established that. But in prosperity, she makes us a marketable product. Through Lakshmi Mata's Katha, we become privy to the fact that to be a marketable product, these are the qualities that are necessary. Lakshmi Katha gives that. Honesty, diligence, no delays and lackadaisical attitude in a work environment. There's innovation, not doing things one way, finding processes that might expedite a process, make it cheaper for the company, punctuality, and we have to be a team player. And these qualities coming from Lakshmi Mata's Katha, we understand prosperity, and all this has become possible through the blessings bestowed by Radha Mata to create that union between Vishnu Bhagwan and Lakshmi Mata. That very Radha Mata, Aditim Kashyapa Prapa. It is her blessings when Kashyap, that son of Brahma, who is mandated to help with creation, just like his father Brahma, he too went to Radha Mata, and by her blessings he gained the spouse of Aditi. And the blessings of Radha Mata are shown time and time again in the Puranas, where when she created that union, what it gave to the world. In the case of Kashyap, when one is thinking about progeny and offsprings, definitely he, along with Daksh Prajapati and a few others come into the fore, and one's Pandit can guide, one's Guru can guide one when such occasions arise, what necessary spiritual steps we need to take to ensure that the progeny that comes along follows the legacy, the rich traditions of the lineage. Aditi's input in this band, she produced the 12 projections of Surjana, which we know as the Adityas. This month, for instance, Dhata is the Aditya that prevails in this month. And one cannot overstate that offering a prayer to the Adityas on a daily basis. Remember, these are the projections of his sun. And not only the physical light we are talking about, there's also the metaphorical interpretation, which is rightly so, that light in our lives will be ushered in, more so if we pay obeisance and recognition to the 12 Adityas. So pujing or offering mantras and honor to the Adityas on a daily basis does uplift our life in a very, very positive way. And all that came through the graces of Aditi when she bonded with Kashyap Muni, and that came through, of course, the graces of Radha Mata. We look further at Radha Mata's input for us. Chandraha samprapa rohinim kamo ratim samprapa. That there were further two bonds that Chandrama, the god of the moon, he too had sought the blessings of Radha Mata, and from that he got Rohini, who was a special spouse to him. Kamo Ratim Samprapa, and Kamdev, the god of love, he too had got Rati, his spouse, by the graces when he had done puja to Radha Mata, by the graces, and that blessing of Radha Mata brought forces, brought situations, brought benefits to the world, which really drive the world in a forward movement. In the context of Chandrama and Rohini, Chandrama is the god of the moon, by extension the god of the mind, as we all know from Satsang. And if the mind is not stabilized, then there will always be challenges towards progress. And while on this note, it is good to point out that when children are born in certain phases of the moon, it might require special attention, and that special spiritual attention begins with the worship of Chandrama. Sometimes these are very short mantras, very easy maneuvers, not time consuming, but when done on a regular, on a daily basis, it really and truly removes the little obstacles and challenges that might pose themselves as the child grows. As far as Kamdev is concerned and Rati, for relationships to be concretized, one needs the blessings of Kamdev, the god of love, and Rati. And for the success of that attraction and to make it an institution, carried forward into an institution of marriage, then the factor of Ganana, the compatibility, has to be sorted out. This, as we say, came through the coupling of these deities and devis, and Radha Mata was the one who was responsible to give to the world for the betterment of the world, so that we will be able to reap the four rewards of life: Artha, Dharam, Kam, and Moksha. We turn our attention now to the sixth of the final sixth projection of that Mahadevi, who in our Raatri ought to be acknowledged. In the syllable, in the mantra, Hrim, in that mantra, Hrim encompasses Durga Mata, which we established last time, and Hrim, Shashti Devi's chief mantra for Havan purposes, short mantra, also incorporates the same syllable, Hrim. She is the daughter-in-law of Durga Mata, being the spouse of the elder son of Durga Mata and Lord Shiva, who is Kartikeya, Swami Kartikeya, the god of warfare, not only physical warfare, but the greater war, the war of mental attrition. And if it's news for anyone, we go to the quotation. This is Devi Bhagavad. Pujyayai skandakantayai. That she is worthy of adoration. Who? They didn't describe her in this instance because they wanted clarity to the world. There must be no ambiguity when we talk about the structure of Godhead. She is Skand, is Kartikeya Swami, and Kanta is his spouse. she is the spouse of Kartikeya Swami. There's no if or but about it. And how, what is her portfolio? Bala Dishtatri Devyaicha Shashti Devyai Namo Namaha. We prostrate before Shashti Devi. Why? Because her forte, her main portfolio, Bala Dishtatri Devyaicha. Bala, she sees about the children. She is the pediatrician of the gods. And that's why it is very, very important that on the 6th day after birth, she has to be welcomed into the life of the family, but more so the child. So on the 6th day of birth of the child, let's specify, if the child is born on a Monday, the 6th day of birth will be, from birth will be the Saturday. And that is a day where ceremoniously Shashti Devi's puja has to be done. Now, that is tied in with the first bath of the child. And the first bath of the child, as we alluded to in previous satsang, has to be on a Tuesday, a Thursday, or Sunday. So one's guide, one's spiritual guide will be able to say, okay, we'll shift the Saturday's worship to Sunday. So it's not technically the 6th day, but it is the first bath. They are tied in. And on that day, it is absolutely important to do awahan, do a little ceremony. It can be brief, but where Shashti Devi is brought into the life of the child, because with all due respect to qualified pediatricians, and really and truly when a child is sick, or even to manage the health of the child, it is the pediatrician, the doctor, the child doctor who's first call. He has to be consulted and lend his guidance, and we have to adhere to his or her guidance. But Shashti Devi, there are points in time when there seem to be no answers to us. And that is where, having installed her on the appropriate date from the birth of the child, we resort to her on a daily basis. And when crises appear, we have her blessings to surmount those obstacles. Shashti Devi too, is there any debate whether she is part of the 6 manifestations? It says it here quite clearly in Devi Bhagavad. Shashtya Shashtamsha Rupayai. Shashtamsha, Amsh is projection, Shashti 6. She is the 6th projection of Mool Prakriti. So though you might be familiar with the 5 alluded to before, she is definitely, so declares Devi Bhagavad, she is the 6th projection to constitute that supreme divine form, Mahalakshmi, Sita as we see, whose worship ought to be done during Raatri. Himsa Krodha Varjataye. She, remember, children feed off of us. Their mannerisms are shaped and molded by what they see, what we project towards them, and genuine project. And if we are, we are using guile to project one thing and we are another, children will psych us out. They will figure us out. And the 2 major qualities as parents we have to, or as role models to younger ones, we have to bring into the fore is himsa, krodha, varjata, means to abandon, to give up violence, violent acts, and hopefully we have established that diet has to be trimmed and molded to suit. And krodha, anger, anger has to be quelled, controlled, and these come from Shashti Devi's blessings upon the elders, that the children that she look after will have a template to follow. Putram Dehi Sureshwari. And she also, her graces also helps us to have the joy of sons in one's life. So as we come to a conclusion on Raatri period, Ekarchai Jagagun Bashajaki, Prabhu Prerit Nahi Nijabalataki, Ramayana declares, and this came from the lips of Sri Ram Chandra, when asked by Lakshman, he told the world that that supreme divine form, the female aspect, she is the one who, the world having been created, she allows creation to go on. And like the gunas, the 3 forces of nature, which we also spoke about, which influences life and existence, she too is the one who is on top of it. And she manifests herself in these 6 projections. Prabhu Prerit Nahi Nij Balataki, she is very dear. Sita is very dear to Ram, Mahalakshmi to Mahavishnu. And the female aspect gets her strength from that divine form to run the world, as it were. So, as we conclude this and other Navratris, we have to factor in all 6 Devis. Short mantra. We had the privilege of sharing in satsang over the last 2 sessions what are the ramifications and meanings, how they lend meaning to Navratri and to our life. And for that we are thankful. And by God, Devi's grace, as we conclude, we will meet and greet in satsang next week. Sitaram, have a blessed week.